Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please as we go through the following safety instructions.
In the event that there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop from the overhead. Place the mask over your nose and mouth. Breathe normally as oxygen is flowing even if the mask is not inflated. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others.
Okay, here we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Holiloquy Podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. This is your favorite host, Vernon T. Scott, also known as Slaytor Jackson, and for you freaky hoes out there, also known as Sebastian Adams. Hello, how y'all doing? All right, on today's episode, we have just me. So, yeah, this is that follow-up episode that I was talking about you know, the psychosis thing, the trigger warning episode and whatnot. Um, so I'm going off the cuff here. So there's not going to be any like actual structure to this episode. I'm just here for the conversation. I'm just here to talk, just to update everybody on where I am. Well, let's put it this way. That was a bit recording from a year ago, July. And yeah, again, if you did not listen to it, I am perfectly okay with that because it's being extremely vulnerable during my mental health crisis. And yeah, I just put it out there to put it out there. I'm also trying a new microphone situation. So yeah, if I sound extra loud, I'm here for it. We'll talk about that later. We really won't. But yeah, so where was I going with this? Oh, I remember. So yeah, that happened last year. So I've been through my path of recovery. So none of that is currently how I am feeling and whatnot. And yeah, mental health is important. So take care of your mental, people. Really do take care of your mental. And sometimes it is beneficial to remove yourself from the situations that you are. That can be a job, relationship, or wherever it is. Even taking a vacation away from your kids is can be important. Just putting that out there for those who may have kids. Let them see their relatives. Let them get yourself a mental break in the aftermath of what happened. Well, I can probably speak on the lead up to that breakdown and then go into the aftermath of my recovery process. I don't know. I do not have any structure for this episode, y'all. I'm just being completely honest. I decided, you know what? I've been doing a lot. I need a break. I want to take some time for myself and relax some and just record this when I feel up to recording. Um, and here I am. It's June. And yeah, so I'm now actually sitting down to record this episode and just talk about the things. I am going to make a couple announcements near the end, and I'm still debating if I'm going to actually do Never Have I Ever and answer some sets questions while I'm here because what would be the Soliloquy podcast without this shit? So, I might as well, but I'm still debating it. It depends on how I feel. But yeah, so over the years, I've been not necessarily neglecting myself because I would still make time for myself to, do some self care, to relax and whatnot, and just to be present. But I was not dedicating a lot of my mental space or even my emotional space to myself, even with going into that, I'm still trying to reconnect with my own emotional sides too, because not saying that I buried a lot of my emotions. One of the emotions I will say I did bury is anger, and I haven't been expressing my anger in a healthy way, meaning not expressing it at all. So that is one of the things that I'm still working on. But over the years, I focus more on other people, making sure that they are feeling better than making sure I'm present for myself and making sure that I'm doing well. So uh, that had some impact into everything that I was feeling at that time, as well as some of the stresses of the places I worked. I've learned that I cannot do the corporate world, which means I cannot do corporate mentality, which also means I cannot do any of the corporate politics and all of that other stuff because it's very triggering and it's just very dysfunctional and it's just not for me. And being a person who likes his own freedom, who likes his own space, who likes to operate in spaces the way he wants to operate in the best and most efficient way, being in that kind of environment just doesn't work well for me. One of the things that I learned through my therapy processes is that I do love autonomy way too much to restrict myself. Like even having dress codes bother me. Not to say I cannot adhere to a dress code, but every single dress code that has been given to me, I've always found my own way to still break that dress code, but still be in dress code. Like I will wear sneakers with like a dress shirt and dress pants and all that other stuff because I like to be comfortable. And dress shirts and dress pants do not make me feel comfortable. It doesn't even make me feel like myself. It doesn't make me feel connected to anything other than corporate ideology, the concept of professionalism, which doesn't sit well with me. So that's just some of that. In addition to that, there were some outside traumas that I faced over the years that I either um, did not address fully within therapy or even with myself that I just was like, I have more things that I need to focus on that are more pressing than that one minor issue. I would say some of it was toxic positivity, but not all of it. And even with that, I mentioned this on some other episodes as well as with my Dismantle the Culture podcast, which I have an update on that as well. Oh my Jesus, I need to like, yeah, y'all don't judge me. Life be lifing. So, yeah, of my past, sexual assaults that have happened, and those do play a role in my mental health, but not as major role that it may have played with other people, since my um, instances were nothing that was extremely violent, but still something traumatic, and something that I found myself going back into that mind space or that mindset quite frequently, and that impacted me too. And in being the person that I am, which is a very loving, emotion forward person, and who loves to engage with other people, though I am an introvert, and also sees the best in any person. And over the years, within the positions that I held, there was not any, not necessarily anything pushing back into me, but I was in situations where I was constantly being drained. Because one, since I was working with students at one point, and not all students are ready for college and are prepared to adjust to the real world, which is part of the reason why I enjoy life coaching and success coaching and things like that, is helping build students and other individuals up to a point where they can be or live a more sustainable life. In those positions, I saw a lot of the flaws within the system, let's put it that way, where we're bringing students into positions where they're set up to fail. And I'm a student advocate first whenever I am working in higher education, and I'm going to vouch for my students, fight for them, and make sure that they get all the resources that they need, regardless of what the rules say. I'm going to be there for them because I don't want students to be failing just because the organization as a whole is just looking to bring in more money. So in a lot of those positions, I had to be the person who's fighting for the students, educating the students, and helping them be sustainable and help them build themselves up, help them find their own personal autonomy, their own freedom, and their own sense of self, while also managing the what is expected of me within the corporate environment or the environment, because I cannot say educational because it was not based in education at all. Let's go with corporate. That's the best way to put it. It is the higher education these days is a factor for a corporation mindset to get people to focus on how to go up the to play the corporate ladder, I guess, and not necessarily to fuel the minds and educate the people on what liberal arts and colleges used to do to help you innovate. So part of what I've been doing these past few years is helping students find their role in innovation. And I know I spoke on my days in Geico on the podcast with Hakeem, but that even played a role in terms of my mental health and dealing with the verbal abuse from customers on a regular basis and trying to find my exit. It all just started to come down on me over the years. And I would say the thing that really triggered me and really started to bring a lot of what I've been trying to not deal with to light, or even shake me to my core, was the fact that well, not even the fact that, but it's the pandemic in itself. Having to sit with myself on a regular basis and not feel comfortable, which is something that I was used to being able to do. That was something that literally was a slap in the face for me. To realize that I no longer felt comfortable to be with myself, or I no longer felt comfortable to be in the to be alone without any other person to, you know, feed off of. Because before I even left to go to college, I was able to be alone in a room, read a book, listen to music, and not care what the hell was going on outside of those four walls. And I had a sense of feeling home within myself. And that was something I no longer felt. And then after that, there was the death of George Floyd and seeing those videos, and that was another breaking point, and that just forced me to um, reconcile with the fact that I've been utilizing so many things, like so many distractions, be it my phone, those games, social media, to avoid feeling the feelings that I need to feel in those moments about what is happening to a lot of people who look just like me. And I just couldn't do it anymore. Let's put it that way. I was angry. I was sad. I was hurt. I was feeling all the feels in that moment, and I tried my best to try to bury that anger, but it just it wasn't doing what it needed to do. And I often say this, but not I don't think I've said it on the podcast, but that summer my code switch broke, and I'm so happy it broke. It never came back. I'm happy it never came back too. So it broke. I was broken at that point. Actually, I can't even say I was broken. I was fixed. I was repaired. Um, and at that point, I began to find my voice again, and I began to speak out a lot more like I used to, and stop trying to manage the small things as best as I can, and sweep the big things under the rug that I had no control over. That was when I decided to, you know what, not care about what the big bosses needed to say or had to say, and just tell people the truth, regardless of trying to make the other people or wherever the institution I was working for, or and by institution I mean any kind of organization. That can be a school, that can be a call center, any of that. But I decided to rather make them feel good about themselves, make sure I feel good first, make sure that the person I'm communicating with have has the answers that they're looking for, and let them know, look, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you something that um, does not make sense, or create something out of nowhere and let you stay with that. If I don't know the answer, I just don't know the answer. And if I don't know anyone who has that, I'm going to tell you that too, because we, even throughout this pandemic, we've all been in positions where, well, I can't really say we've all, but many of us have been in positions where we just don't have the answers to provide for anybody, regardless of how much or how helpful we're trying to be towards them. And I had to realize that is okay. And well, this is to go on the concept of, well, not concept, but this is to relate some things. Just in case if you haven't started following my friend's Nancy's podcast, Streaming in Color, I definitely recommend listening to her podcast because it's amazing. It's hella amazing. But I also show up on her podcast to do an episode about a dream that I had during this time. And I only say that because it is relevant to this conversation. That dream um, is a thing that provided me the answers that I needed to step out on faith and to, do what I need to do to make sure I'm secure, to make sure I feel good, to make sure that I'm fighting for myself, and to also make some major changes. As a result of that dream, I uh, moved back home to Georgia. I sold my car, which was connected to a different dream, but that dream was part of that. I revamped and changed my life a lot. And after I made that decision to move and come back to Georgia, I had no place to really stay. I did not apply for any apartments. Luckily, I have brothers, uh, and I was able to stay with my brother for a month. I was able to secure a job within that time frame, which is hella hard to do in higher education, y'all. Like in higher ed, you can interview for a position in like January and not know if you got it. Well, sometimes you won't even know that you never got the position, but you might be notified 3 months later that you were hired onto that position or something like that. Because for some weird reason, they take their time as though people are not really out here trying to transition out here. Because I don't get that. I'm not going to rant on higher education, y'all. I'm really not. If y'all want to hear that rant, let me know, and that can just be releasing a load episode, and I can go in. I can go fucking in. Um, like, oh my god. But um, yeah, I made that transition and I moved to Statesboro for the position I recently had before I left higher education. And I probably should also mention there was also some incidences that happened in my prior job before I made that move that also impacted my mental health, from like a death of a student who I refer to as cousin. There was shootings that a shooting that occurred on campus, and something that many people don't know when it does come to the first responders on campus is not often the police officers. It's often those people who live in residence life, because we do live, those people, like myself, we lived on campus, and we are the ones that people respond to the most. They have our numbers, they have connections to through the resident assistants, they have all of that stuff. So whenever shit hits the fan, um, the people who live on campus are the first ones who are contacted, and then we go up the channels. But there was a lot of things that I went through during my time in Nashville that I don't talk about a lot, because Nashville was traumatic for me, overall. Every single aspect of Nashville was traumatic for me, from moving in to a roach infested fucking apartment, which took me 2 to 3 weeks to get rid of all of those motherfuckers, because, and a lot of money, not to mention that I moved to a new state, y'all. So that in the apartment itself, was not, when I um, saw it the first day, I did not notice any of the roaches, but they left the door open to make some repairs during my moving process. They also, there was a cardboard box that was left outside, which I can kind of blame myself for that, because it was my internet Wi-Fi stuff. So I take that blame. But when I even mentioned that to the people, they were just like, "There's no way possible," and I'm like, "There are. It's hella roaches in here. Like, there's a problem." And it took me getting my own strips, um, putting those down on the floor, and having them come into the apartment to, make out changes of those strips. Uh, for them to realize, oh, this man was not playing. It is a lot up in here. Like, people, like, I didn't bring those with me. Like, anyways, so is it my time in Nashville was very traumatic from day one. Let's put it that way. And and it was a very nice neighborhood. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a very nice neighborhood. I love the neighborhood. It was just that. And then being in the position where I was unable to afford rent and whatnot. And it was a mess, y'all. It was a mess. Got laid off. And remember, higher ed, it takes about 3 to 6 months just for you to get a job. Got laid off in January and didn't get hired to a position I applied for in April until I don't think I learned that I got the job until July. And the only reason I learned that I got the job was because I was about to move to Ohio. And the other person was like, "Oh, yeah, nobody contacted you?" Mm. I went on a tangent there, but Nashville, traumatic. For those who love it, I'm happy for you. Enjoy it. It's a great place. It's a nice city. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's just not for me. I'm not going back there. I can visit, but I'm not going back to live there. Not at all. I'm done with the trauma. But yeah, yeah, it's that should have been my sign to get out of higher education then. But you live and you learn. But yeah. After dealing with all the shit in Nashville and getting back home to Georgia, I made it a mission to focus on to focus on therapy. Now, prior to this, I have to mention I became a huge fan of the TikTok. So I was definitely on TikTok, and I like to just, give people the benefit of the doubt in their experiences and stuff like that, and just let them, talk about their lives, and whatever is engaging, and I like it. I like it. But the way that TikTok operates, because they do focus on making sure people know that you do need to take a break. But once you're addicted to something, you're just addicted to it. So regardless of the little warning that, hey, you've been scrolling for some time now, you probably should just give it a break. No, I'm addicted at this point. I'm going to ignore that and keep on going. So by reviewing a lot of the TikTok content, and all these people doing this conspiracy theory, that conspiracy theory, and all this other stuff, and me already being interested in like space stuff, and then also being interested in the like spirituality. TikTok for somehow was able to utilize their algorithm to cater all of that experience to a point where I became, I would say, radicalized in a sense, to where I started to believe some of the conspiracies that was going around, because literally I'm not a flat earther, but based off of some of those videos, I could understand why some people actually believe that there's a flat Earth, because I look at a lot of things from a level of skepticism, but also accept that it may be possible. So because of that may be possible aspect of it all, I began to believe some of it. And I will say by this point, I'm in November. So in November, I'm watching these conspiracy videos. I'm also looking into politics a lot more, because you know who we had as a president at the fucking time. That turd. Also trying to make sure that I vote and, and everything, just doing everything that I need to do politically, and just even looking at all the stuff that was going on in the world at the time in terms of politics was enough to really, really shake me up too. Because one, we had the pandemic where nobody know what the fuck was going on, the hysteria that has been going into everybody because of not knowing what the fuck is going on, not knowing if a cough is the thing that's going to lead you to death. We don't have a cure. We don't have a vaccine. We already live in a very anxiety driven society. We have murder on murder on murder. We have all these mass shootings, which is also known as massacres. So we're going to call a thing a thing. All these massacres happening. We have uncertainty, uncertain. Whoa, my good, uncertain. Okay, uncertainty. Whatever the fuck that word is, I cannot talk right now, even though I'm talking. Uh, we're very uncertain about what our future is going to be, because pandemic and the orange turd is president. We have a lot of foolish shit happening where you have one political party that's just taking kneeling with kente cloths and not actually trying to change it. Those bastards. You have just so much shit going on. It was a dumpster fire, and we're still in that dumpster fire. Let's put it that way. And all of these things, in the only sense of what might be reality, is the escape of TikTok. So this is where my mind was at the time. Okay. Yeah. And then starting this new position, and I literally told that staff that my main goal here is to work with the students and the students only. I'm not trying to do anything outside of that. I'm not trying to be on any kind of committees, any of that. I'm just trying to work with the students and make sure the students are doing better. Make sure that they're making their way through everything that's going on, to be empathetic to them, to be understanding and help them develop the skills that they need to be successful. And I was able to do that. Like with all the shit that was going on with me mentally, I handled that shit like a G because high functioning, y'all. I wear that with that's my badge of honor, okay? Even though it's bad, y'all. Like, it's okay to not be okay. And I should not be using, like, holding that as a badge of honor, but I'm going to hold it as a badge of honor because in those moments, I was able to compartmentalize my own trauma just so I can be there for my students to make sure that they were great. But I should have also not been in that position because I needed to focus on myself first. But you got to pay bills in order to live. So, yeah, the best option was to compartmentalize at the time. So, yeah, so I decided that, you know what, because this is the only position I ever been in, the only organization I ever worked in that actually is taking mental health seriously, in the sense that they allow you to take mental health days. Well, use your sick leave to take a mental health day. So I was like, you know what? I want to do something great for this institution while I'm here. So I started working on a side project because I like side projects. I like to make my job easier at the end of the day. So I decided to do something that I wanted to do for my former institution I worked at, to enhance the lived experience for the students. And in doing that project, I I was working with another coworker at the time who also left that position, to build this platform for students so that they know all the resources that's available to them on campus, because that's the thing that really impacts students when they do not know their resources. They do not know that they have tutoring options. They have centers on campus that deal with diversity, equity, inclusion. They have potential um, programs that might help them with their housing or even food disparities and things like that. So having a one-stop place where you can access this, where you don't have to search the college website, because people don't like to search, for one. People don't like to read. So just making things a little bit more convenient to the current generation of college students. Um, so we were working on that, but somehow that side project became a mandatory thing, which really, really hurt. And it really dampened my mood to complete. Um, and it became mandatory after January 6th. So I think that might have been something that played a role there. And speaking of which, I laughed when that happened, y'all. And I know someone might be like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? Because I'm Black in America. And I realize that we will never be able to have the opportunity to do anything that foolish without all of us dying. And I found it hilarious because I knew that none of them were actually going to see any kind of true justice, or any of them are actually going to be tried appropriately. That's like why I still continue to laugh at this stuff that's dealing with Trump on the political lens, because it's like we all know the truth here, and y'all are acting like we don't know the truth. But okay, y'all do y'all. Um, protect whatever y'all need to protect. Y'all are foolish. I don't got the time to think about their foolishness on that level anymore. I can only focus on myself and my community, meaning those who are surrounding me, and as well as the Black community too. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, that was going on. Tangents, y'all, tangents. I try to stay on topic, but it's hard. It's the ADHD in me. Um, which I'm not going into that. I'm not going to that. But yeah, so um, my main focus, most definitely with that new job, was to make sure that I was focusing on therapy and utilizing whatever mental health resources I needed at the time. Mind you, I started therapy well before I got into that position. I think I was paying for therapy since October of that year out of pocket. And because I was no longer in the state of Tennessee, I really had to pay out of pocket because the school I um, was in Tennessee. And oh, just a fun fact for those who may be in college, your most of your tuition that you pay does well. I can't say on all colleges or at all colleges, but in a vast majority, if you're paying tuition, your tuition allows you to have free therapy, but also recognize that if you're taking classes online, which I was, the therapist may not have licensure for whatever state that you're in. So, regardless of what you're paying in tuition, you'll still probably have to pay out of pocket for therapy. But if you are in that state and your school covers it fully, regardless of grad level, you do qualify for free. Well, you can have free therapy um, at your institution's expense because most campuses do have uh, counselors available to you. So if you need it, utilize it. But yeah, so within my therapy process, I learned that I do have PTSD, which I already knew, OCD, which I should have known, but didn't really recognize that I had OCD. So usually, if I say, "Oh, it's the OCD acting up," I was kind of just, being facetious. But yeah, literally do have OCD. I knew about having depression already because I recognized the signs a long time ago. And I also knew about, I did not know that I had, I think, is it major anxiety disorder? I have another anxiety disorder, which is also how I know I'm high functioning and shit, because badge of honor. And then I recently found out about the ADHD thing, so still not getting into that. But yeah, that's where I learned these things. And during my therapy sessions, I began to no longer feel as though I can trust my therapist. And at first, it was great. Our relationship was very good. I was able to communicate with her and have talk about whatever, but it was not necessarily like her race that had an impact, but it was her actions that made me not want to trust her anymore. Because one of the things that I told her is that I did not want to try any kind of medications. And if I did try any medications, I'd rather it be medical marijuana. Speaking of which, I was also smoking a lot of recreational, not well, I guess recreational marijuana because I had a plug, but it was vaping in edibles that I was doing, and THC is not for me. That also was something that started to cause me to start hallucinating. So, well, I wouldn't say it was the THC, but the Delta 8 that I had this one random time that caused me to hallucinate, and that contributed to my psychosis somewhat, as well as the medication that I was on because I was getting off of one and starting up another one. And now, this does not mean do not take medication because not every person requires medication, but some people do require medication. I just happen to be one of those people who did not require medication. And because my therapist was pushing it so much for me to try it, that's the only reason I tried medication. And uh, her pushing it and me having that reaction because of the drugs is the reason why I did not trust her anymore. And as well as when she was trying to keep me in like meeting with her when I had already vocalized that I might be interested in seeing another therapist. And for me, it was more towards her completing her hours that she needed rather than making sure that I was taken care of properly in terms of my mental health. So that is where that distrust came from. Um, of course, I felt guilted. So I continued to see her on an ongoing basis until eventually our sessions ended because she moved to a different position. She finished all of her clinical hours because, sometimes when it comes to finances and you cannot afford like a fully licensed therapist, you go with the cheaper option. That's where I was at. And it's nothing wrong with going like seeing a student who's still learning the ropes. There's nothing wrong with it. They have to get their hours somehow. So definitely is not to dissuade anyone from seeing someone who is a clinical student because a lot of them do have the talent that is needed. But again, this is the same therapist who said that she felt as though that she was in therapy sessions rather than me being like I was essentially her therapist.
The Holiloquy podcast focuses on the variability of sexual expression. When it comes to sexual expression, we often depend on pornography to illustrate how one must perform sexually. For those who have not learned this by now, the stuff you see in porn is not real. Pornography provides a singular perspective of sexual expression that is not often the reality we see during our own sexual encounters. The Holiloquy podcast is a conversation that takes you outside of the compressed box of what many know about sex. Some of the topics we discuss includes kinks, condom usage, status disclosure, and past sexual experiences. The Holiloquy podcast steps out on sexual norms and recognizes that the norm is not the only normal. Subscribe today and join the conversation.
This is the same therapist who said that she felt as though that she was in therapy sessions rather than me being like I was essentially her therapist, and that's not appropriate. And that was also another reason because that happened after my little mental the drug hallucination that happened like 3 weeks after that. So yeah. So I no longer trusted her. That's the gist of that conversation. And that made me lean more on to the TikTok stuff rather than focusing on anything that she was telling me. So I started to practice a lot more escapism, which included smoking a little bit more of my vape, as well as getting more on TikTok, trying to deal with my political reckoning, which is let's go into that. So what I'm saying as a political reckoning is just realizing that our politicians really do not give a fuck about us, and a lot of that I saw was going on, but I was giving them the benefit of the doubt, regardless of how much I saw that their actions weren't really doing anything. Because when you look at the last our years under the orange turd, we were that's disrespectful to turds everywhere. But while we were under that leadership, you get all the good words that are being spoken. You get all the talking points to empower the people who are following those who are on the Democratic side. So you're feeling validated and you're feeling seen, but looking at things in a different perspective of a timeline of when the Dems, let's put it out there, had power, how they chose not to do anything for people, but did a lot of things for show and representation only. That's the thing that I had to reconcile with and recognize that, oh, they really, when they say representation matters, they're only caring about representing in a visual way and not actually doing anything to really change. If you're not at that point, I'm sorry. If you are, hey, love to see you. And if you just don't believe that, that's fair too. This is only my perspective, and what I've seen. If you've seen anything different, I would love to see what you have to say, and you're more than welcome to share it. And this doesn't mean that they do not do anything every now and again that's good for people, but every now and again isn't enough for me anymore. I want to see drastic differences. I want to see drastic changes. I want to see things that really impact me today and not tomorrow. I don't want to continue to wait. I don't want to be, because we've been waiting for reparations since 1864. Probably shoot, we've been waiting for that even before then. But when the actual terms of we should provide reparations, I think it was actually 1867. But whatever the case may be, we've been waiting. We've been waiting to be seen as actual human beings since 1619. So, how much more do we have to wait for? And that's where I'm at this point in terms of politics. But yeah, where was I? Oh my gosh. Okay, I decided that I am definitely going to be doing some never have I ever, because oh my gosh, this is going on long. I did not think I would be here this long. And I'm just talking and talking and talking. Oh my, and I'm not even done with the fucking year. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So, well, I'm in May now. So, we're still in trauma. So, yeah, after my sessions ended, if y'all have any additional questions, not necessarily about that video, feel free to send me an email at info@slatersplayhouse.com. Um, or I'm actually planning on doing something to take sets questions from the audience and whatnot, but I'll talk about that later. And it's going to be like after the break. I'll talk about that later. Y'all will hear that soon, okay? That's all you need to know. It's coming for you. It's coming soon. It's coming, y'all. Skeet, 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 skeet. I'm so disgusted. Oh my God. Someone is going to be very disturbed by that, and I'm okay with that. I'm sorry that I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but that needed to be done. But yeah. So we're in May now. In May is when I was debating if I wanted to stay on until at that position to December, or just go. I also knew that my rent was going to be up soon, and I wanted to move to a different place that provided me a lot more space. Um, and so I was looking around the city for that kind of the space that I was looking for. Um, that had a price that I was comfortable with that will allow me to stay in Statesboro. And oops, oh, well, there we go. Uh, but yeah, to allow me to stay in Statesboro, to allow me to um, feel comfortable while still, working on the job for those next few months or so, while still continue to build up Slater's Playhouse to the point to where I want it to be. That will give me some time and space for myself. I was even contemplating if I wanted to renew my lease, all of that. So it was a lot of big decisions that I needed to make. Um, and I literally thought that I was going to still be in that job until December of 2021. I really thought that. I really did. That was my expectations. But as the days went by, the more and more I was going into a deeper depression, a deeper state of hysteria, a deeper state of psychosis, a deeper disconnect from reality as well as myself. So even my spiritual self, because I even purchased books to like try to connect with different religions, different beliefs, because I was never a very religious person, and I am not a fan of ritual behavior in terms of um, doing certain things every morning or doing certain things every night or whenever the moon rises or whenever it sets. I just cannot do that because ritualistic behavior seems very restricting to me, and it removes me from the concept of having personal autonomy. So I just can't. I don't do it because of that. And I was also in the process of looking for additional like part-time jobs or even a job that paid more than what I was making in higher education, which I have to hand to my previous therapist, because she legit was like, Vernon, I don't think you should be working for anybody, because um, there's not too many places that does not have that corporate mindset. And I will tell her, well, I will make excuses from what she told me, but she was completely right. I cannot work for other people. I can do part-time for other people. I cannot work full-time. I cannot. So eventually, I got to a point where I decided to um, quit that job, of course, but I did not quit the way I would have wanted to quit. So, after having to travel a lot to, make sure things is going well with my family, and mind you, I lost like three cousins within this time frame, like cousins I grew up with, not like a older my mom's cousin kind of situation. No, like cousins, like within 10 years of age, or 5 years of age, or even younger. So that was also playing heavily on my mental too. So I I think it was no, no, no. I think June was just a lot of me doing a lot of work that I didn't sign up for. So that was also annoying me too. And then also trying to still develop this project that was now mandatory in a sense. The expectation that was definitely coming. And so myself and the person that was working on that project, because she was already on her way out the door, and I was still contemplating. So it got to a point where we were just trying to find people who will replace us and that can still get this project done, so that it can benefit the students, because there was a need for it and a lot of people saw that need, which was great. But yeah, microaggressions and lack of trust from other people, it does also play it played on my mental health too. But outside of that, there was a lot of things that was being added onto my plate that I didn't ask for. You're giving me a plate of onions. I said no onions. Um, I wanted carrots, bitch. Like, give me the carrots that I wanted. So yeah, shit was going on, and I decided um, that I'm going to try to stick this out. If I could find a place to move to here in this area, I'm going to stay. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to put up with this foolishness. I'm going to make sure that we get everything taken care of. And then July 9th, where everything start crumbling down, where I just had the mindset that, okay, either we're going to become zombies and zombies are going to be it. These aliens are going to come down and just snatch us up. Like, go ahead and do it. Um, like all this stuff. And let's talk about that, because I might have mentioned it in that recording or not, but I really did believe that concept, like, of reptilian race and all this other stuff being politicians, because let's be real. Um, Not saying that they are, but where I was mentally, I can see how people believe that, because what human being is going to let other humans suffer as much as we've allowed people to suffer in this damn country? How we actively start wars, how we actively um, restrict people's rights, how we actively impoverish other people. And after thinking about all the atrocities and all the trauma that our government honestly has put a lot of people through, and even realizing, because I did not know this until I would have to say TikTok. And then after TikTok, I went on YouTube to explore this a little bit deeper and also look at some news stories too. But I did not know that they used to broadcast war footage on television, on like mainstream media, so people can watch people die overseas. That's gruesome. That is disgusting. That is not acceptable. And I'm saying that just for myself personally. If you like that, okay. Um, I'm judging you. I'm not even going to lie. I am judging you. And just that concept reminded me of the things that was going on through slavery that a lot of people were okay with. And this is also why I do have a little bit of a level of distrust in white people. Most definitely here in the South, because you all used to bring your children to watch the hangings of Black people and celebrate that. You used to watch them be barbecued alive. You used to watch them be castrated alive. You used to watch them be dragged, whipped, all of these things. And you reveled in those thoughts and you enjoyed it. And just that inhumane treatment was enough for me to believe that there's no way possible any other human being will allow that to happen or even enjoy in those moments. Because who would? Who would treat another human that if unless they are not human? And that's the thing that allowed me to believe in those conspiracy theories. But now, most definitely, now that I am more attached to reality these days, that also allowed me to see that these people just hate us that much, that it's easier to do that. Or most definitely when it comes to our government, they're greedy enough to allow that to happen because they just don't care for our humanity. It's not that they're a different race. It's not because they're a different breed. It's not because they're extraterrestrial beings are extra. What's the other words that I learned over the years? In the last 2 years? Uh, it's not extraterrestrials, but huh, extragalactic? No, 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 no. I forgot the word. But it's not because they're alien or anything like that. It's because they're greedy human beings who do not value life. And that's just calling it what it is. And I hate that for a lot of people. I hate that for myself. I hate that for others. But that is where we are. Even when you think back to all of these things that has been happening these last few months with massacre after massacre after massacre, and all we can do is just have talking points and not actually make any legitimate change, regardless of how many people this is harming and how many people are in support of making these changes. But the profit motive of it all, the amount of money I can have come back to me if I say nothing or if I say the right thing. And it's disgusting. And I'm happy I'm in a place to recognize that as what it is. Do I still see the humanity in them? I do, because I will not allow myself to be whoever they are or whatever they are, whatever mindset they have, to the point where they do not care enough for human life. But it's still disgusting regardless. And it's very inhumane. And yeah, I just had to put that out there. So yeah, that brought me to the point where I'm at now. Well, at that point, that's what brought me to July. I think it was July 9th. Might have been give or take 2 days or so. And after that point, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. If there is some alien overlord or even God, whatever, just take me out today. Just take me out, because clearly I don't belong here and I don't need to be here. I'd rather be somewhere else, treated as a human being. I would rather be anywhere other than this damn planet. That's essentially where my mind was at that point. And um, yeah, I truly did ask to just be put out. I was resolved in that moment of just dying, because what else was there to live for? Um, I don't want to live to work. I don't want to work to live. I want to live a life where I feel whole. I want to live a life I feel satisfied with. Um, and now where I am today, I'm going to go into that a little bit in more detail too, but I realized that a poem that I wrote, which is also in the Essential Guide on How to Be a Hoe, the printed version, if y'all haven't gotten it, if you want to get it, it's going to be in the descriptions, the show notes and whatnot. But I realized that the poem I wrote, Challenge Accepted, came back. And I just want to read that, because it's kind of surreal at this point. But it says, tonight, well, challenge accepted. Tonight, I challenged God. I told him if I woke up the next morning, I must have a purpose on this earth. Medicated. 2 ibuprofens, a shot of NyQuil, and some sips of vodka. I knew these things were not going to kill me. I knew I would survive. My challenge was not for me to die, but for me to be renewed. I wanted to awaken pain, agony, my guts pulling themselves out of my throat. I wanted the experience of having my stomach pumped. I wanted to feel something. I cried last night. I wanted to be the person remembered. I wanted to be eulogized, mourned, victimized. My life had no meaning other than to help those who wished to spit in my face. I had earned the role of my oppressor, though I would never do such a thing. I am the oppressed, but my identity is forever taken by my oppressor. He gives me his title. My oppressor name, my oppressor never does anything wrong. It is always my fault. Yet, I cried last night. My oppressor hammered the numbers 12, 13 into my back, the year of my ultimate downfall. My oppressor, sorry, I used the wrong title. The oppressed was the bringer. The oppressed verbalized his hatred. He gave me a new name. He named me fat, nigger, faggot, dyke. Ooh, I messed that up. He named me fat, nigger, faggot, dyke, coon, and bitch. But it was okay for him to do so. He was the oppressed. What good would it do for me to have an identity? I am the oppressor. I kept the walkways and living areas free of litter, but the oppressed was not happy. The whip fell to my back. Wait, the whip fell to my back. I ensured that the oppressed was kept safe, but I was left out in the cold. I sent encouragement, though I was spat on and kicked in the ribs. I listened to the oppressed troubles, but the abuse was soon to emerge again. The abuse always varied between verbal and emotional trauma. I thought of the knife again last night. It was during the crying festival that I became accustomed to. This this time, the knife went vertical. The knife never touched my skin, but mentally, the knife ran through my skin plenty of times. More like 85 or more times. The knife was an old friend of mine. He was named the Liberator. His task was to set free the oppressed from the oppressor, which was me. The only way to do so was to kill the oppressor. Suicide was no solution to this problem. Those who commit suicide were said to be heading to hell. Why would I want to go back into the situation I was already in? 12, 13 was my hell. I was whipped for not being too clean, spat on for holding back harsh words, kicked for caring too much, shot for being too much of a friend, stabbed for lying to myself about the oppressed comings and goings, stripped of my humanity for trying to see the oppressed in a better light. Last night, I challenged God. When I woke up, I felt disappointed. I wanted to feel something again, but what I felt was all the pain that I became accustomed to thanks to the oppressed, my oppressor. That is a poem I wrote back in college. And when I say it's surreal, it's very surreal. I didn't think that it was going to be something that came back. And that was a poem that represented something that I was feeling in 2012, 2013, whenever I wrote it. It was also something that I was feeling when I was reflecting on a time in my life in high school where I did want to commit suicide. And it wasn't necessary. I wasn't abused. Let's put it that way. I was not physically abused as a child. I was not. Was there a little bit of emotional abuse? Yeah, a little bit of verbal abuse. Yeah, that's a part of mostly all Black people's lives. Let's be honest. But um, it 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 reminded me of that point when I was writing that. It also I was going through a lot in college too, and trying to rediscover myself and um, also process those feelings when I was a lot younger. And this is before actually seeing anyone within the realms of psychology, even though at the time I was hell of a psychology major at the time and switching to a psych minor. I love psychology. That also helped me reflect on some of the stuff that I was going through and helped me vocalize and verbalize what was my experiences. And to be able to know that certain things were not okay, to be able to understand that this is what other people are doing, most definitely when it comes to like projection and projecting onto others. Terminology that not too many people know. And oh my God, this has been close to an hour, or has it already been an hour? Good God, I am talking, y'all. Um, so I'm happy that y'all are still here. If you're still on, listen to this episode. Thank you. I appreciate you for listening to what I have to say in my experiences and my vulnerability. And I truly, 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 truly appreciate you. Uh, it is coming from a place of love. But yeah, oh my, I'm in a close to an hour being in this episode, and I'm still addressing the trauma that I was in. Y'all, that tells you a lot. It was a lot of shit going on. Um, so yeah, that happened in the psychotic episode, the psychotic break, and after that, I decided that you know what, this job is not worth it. Living here in the city is not worth it. I need to be closer to people that, well, not necessarily closer to people because I do have a very tight knit friend group and who we support each other. Even though I don't always turn to them for a lot of the shit that's going on, but I do turn to them most definitely whenever I am feeling some type of way and things are. Impacting me. In this moment of my life, I did not, because when you're dealing with breaks in reality, you tend to not know who you can or willing to trust. And it's not that I necessarily did not trust them, but I also did not feel as though it was their responsibility to like necessarily bring me out of whatever the fuck was going on. So of course, went to a professional, Eddie. Shout out to Eddie. Um, so after that break, um, I should try to seek out sponsorship with them with BetterHelp because it did help me. But reached out to a friend to see exactly what was the service that she used, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's this BetterHelp." So I oh, thank you, Kia. By the way, that's the friend who I reached out to. I don't know if she even listens to the podcast, but I reached out to her, and she sent me a link to the website. So I signed up. I was matched with the therapist. This was like a week-long process too. So I matched with the therapist. I sent what was going on with me and what I needed help with. And then we set up our first initial meeting. And the first thing that he asked me to do is reach out to a couple people that I trusted and just go from there. And that's what I did. I shared what was bothering me with a friend of mine from Macon. Um, and also my line sister. And they were my support group at that time. And and literally just went from there. Um, so now it is transitioned over to the recovery side of things. Oh, mind you, I was bringing myself back into reality. I also saw some strange shit that I don't know if it was just my mind or if it was just angles or if it was just wherever the fuck, I don't know. Like there was this moment when I was in Memphis, I saw a plane that was just suspended, not moving. And I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And I also didn't want to figure out what the fuck was going on too. I have to admit that. I could have stopped my car and pulled over to see if this plane was actually suspended in midair or see if there was like anything there. But I was like, you know what? Let's not. Um, I'd rather just keep moving forward. And that's what I chose to do. I chose to continue to move forward. Um, and after because I ended up within from July 9th to like August, whatever, I think August 1st, I was able to secure an apartment here where I'm at now. Back home. I didn't let anybody know that I was moving back home. I only told like a couple people. No, I didn't tell any of my family at all because I didn't want them to know. Because I wanted to take time and take up the space for myself to focus on myself only. I increased my student loans. I know. I still want those bitches canceled. I'm not even gonna lie, cancel those shits. But I increased my student loans so I can have a stipend that will pay for therapy, as well as pay for my bills and help me set up my own living arrangement so that I can have a bed, have a TV, and all this other stuff. Everything that I pretty much got rid of over the years with living in residence life and whatnot, living on campus. Y'all, over the past 10 years, I purchased 3 beds. Like, beds are expensive. So, yeah. Um, so yeah, I had to replace a lot of furniture that I lost over the years. So, or even the furniture I didn't have. Like I did not have an actual desk for my office. I did end up replacing some of that. But I took out a massive student loan just so that I can have enough money to focus on my mental health, um, have food in my refrigerator, have a place to lay my head. So paying for rent, take care of my car insurance and whatnot for a few months until I was actually ready to get back into the workforce. And even with talking to Eddie, he even confirmed I was not in the place to be working for a long time because of the traumas that I've experienced over the years. And that I really do need a break. So I allowed myself to take that break. And so from what was it? July all the way up until um I think my last session with Eddie was in January. That's what I was doing. I was focusing on myself, preparing to get back into the workforce because I did start working during that process, but I also did not work anything full time. I had to only work something that could sustain my bills and make sure I did not go hungry. And that's all I could do. And that was all I can focus on. Um, and the one thing that I did take away from my initial conversations with Eddie is that he let me know that um, I fit the category. Well, in our discussions, he said that most of the people that he spoke to that I went along with in terms of like my own mental health were people who've been at war, people who've been in the military for some time and actually seen war. And that hit me like to the core, because I was like, so you're telling me that I've been so stressed out that I'm essentially a soldier at this point? Like, this is not okay. Like, what the fuck? Sir, none of that. So yeah, that's pretty much what was going on after the mental breakdown. And it there were some other things that happened outside, like, that did also impact my recovery process, like taking care of other people um, that I did not ask to have to take care of. But that same person is, I'm no longer taking care of them. So there, I don't know what he's up to these days. As a family member, love him though, love him. But one of the things that I had to reconcile with is that for me to be well, I do have to make sure I make myself a priority. And because I was making other people a priority for so long in my life, that it got to the point where I had a mental breakdown. I'm not in the position to um, take care of other people, which is why you've heard on the other episodes where we talking about not necessarily just dating with intent, but knowing that I cannot date someone where I know I have to um, do everything for them. I can't do codependency because of that. I cannot be in a relationship where I have to be my work self in the household, where I literally require somebody where I can just be basic as fuck, because I don't want to be in that mindset where I have to take care of somebody else on a regular basis. Now, of course, this will change over the years, but where I'm at today, I just cannot do that. And this is another reason why I do date with intent when it comes to finding a partner, is because I want someone that we do work off of each other, that we do allow each other to feel fulfilled on a regular basis, that we can both show up whole within the in our relationship, and neither one of us have to be um, put in more than we need to. That we can just show up. We can both be basic together, um, and just thrive that way. So, yeah, of course, had to do a lot of talk therapy. I had to do a lot of journals. Um, I do still have my shadow work journal, but I have not written in it in a while. But I need to get back into that. I've through therapy is what developed the concept of Sebastian's Adams. Sebastian, a name that I had for myself back in the MySpace days. Um, but Zadams, because I'm too delicious for Zaddy, like, of course. But that is where that came from. And that is a way for me to just express myself however I want to express without it really impacting anything related to my work life or my business life. It's just there. That's why Sebastian, like the artwork that I do, is under Sebastian's page and whatnot, because that is one outlet where I don't have to show up for anybody else. I don't have to show up for anyone other than myself. And whew, oh, side note, during all of this shit, I was also going through like a lot of shit with like in the academic world, because I was working towards earning my doctorate, and there was some racist people in my class, y'all, in my cohort, and that was a a lot to deal with too. So it was a lot of shit that I was dealing with, y'all. But yeah. and here I am today. I have my doctorate, I have my business, I have my podcast, I have my friends, I have my sanity, I'm within reality. I'm doing things to make myself happy. I am working. 2 part-time jobs. I'm still in school, working on my 4th degree. Let's talk about that for a second. So, if you heard the episode with Nancy, she even mentioned I got degrees on degrees, because I do. I have my high school diploma. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Creative Writing. I have a Master's of Education in Higher Education Leadership, and I have a education doctorate in leadership and professional practice, with my research being in rape culture. Well, after I completed the research and went back and thought about the shit, is actually in systemic rape culture. But yeah, I'm doing the damn thing. And now I'm working towards completing my sex coaching certification and a marriage and family therapy master. So I'm doing things. I need to stop. I'm going to stop. In that last part, my family does not know about. They don't even know. But if they listen to this podcast, congrats. Now you know I'm still in school. But this was paid for, so that's great. The first degree to actually ever see my worth and just be like, you know what? We need to go ahead and pay you to be here to take these classes because we see what you got. We see what you can do. We like you. These other schools was just like, you know what, nigga, fuck you. Pay us. Oh, mind you, let me tell y'all the reason why I went to Tennessee to begin with. I was originally planning on taking like a year from going into my doctorate program, but this was a warning sign. This was a whole ass warning sign. Oh my God. But no, you wanted to overlook it because you want to see the better things in people. You want to see the better things in institutions and programs. This is your fucking problem, Vernon. This is your motherfucking problem. Okay, I had to talk to myself for a second. But so what happened was I applied, got into the school that I wanted to get into, and I chose to go to that school because I knew that out of state tuition is great for the school's funding, which means they get a lot more money when you have a graduate student who's from out of state. So I was like, you know what, let me give back to the Black people because I love Black people because yes. But I was like, let me do this so I can make sure that they have better outcomes for their students. So I'm going to pay this higher tuition and all this other stuff and do what needs to be done. But I was going to wait a year before I actually started. I was going to take weekend classes with them until, I easily transitioned into Nashville. But I learned that, well, yeah, I was going to take weekend classes because it was advertising weekend classes on their website. But not wait a year, but I found out after I was accepted that, oh no, we don't do that. I don't know why that was on the website. I think that's for the K through 12 side, but the higher ed, no, our classes are Monday through Wednesday. So you'll actually have to be here in Nashville on campus to, take these classes because, yeah, we don't do that here. So yeah, that happened. So I decided, oh, okay, y'all tell me this in May. Actually, I think, yeah, it was late May. Y'all tell me this in May. No, it was early May. It was early May. And classes start in August. And my last day on this job is June. Before the next semester starts, which is in the third week of June. I was an instructor at the time. And this position doesn't end until September. Yet in my rent, well, my apartment lease is up in July. None of these dates are connecting. None of them. So at that moment, I realized I have a very huge decision to make. Do I want to go half a month without getting paid? I got paid at the end of the month, so it kind of played out in a way to benefit me. But I have to pay for a new deposit. I have to move, start a new job, and let these people know I won't be returning for the next semester with the students I love, with the population I wanted to be teaching, and all this other shit. I have to leave my dream job because y'all did not do weekend classes that actually benefited me. And I did. I made it work somehow because magic, black boy magic. We got it too. But yeah, I had to do all this shit and I did it and I made it work and somehow it all worked out. Um but yeah, here I am today uh with one of y'all's favorite podcasts. It's the Holiloquy podcast where we step out and speak on sexuality. So now let me go ahead and transition to some fun shit because I know y'all are tired of hearing everything that I had to talk about. And again, I appreciate y'all if y'all stuck around through all this. This is going to be like the only I don't know how long this episode is going to be, but I hope y'all enjoy every single minute. If y'all have any questions, if y'all have any concerns, worries, anything you just want to reach out to me and talk about, feel free to do so. Email me. I definitely do pay attention to the email and I will respond. You can even comment on the Slaytor's Playhouse YouTube channel. I will respond there too. I love the engagement, honestly. Even if if you download the Podbean app, you can even comment and reach out to me that way too. It doesn't matter. I don't mind responding to you all. So this question. Never have I ever had a sexual fling with someone 10 years older or younger than myself. Let's go ahead and put yes, I have. I've had a sexual fling with some older people. I don't really um mesh well uh, with people that's my age. I'm not saying it's not possible because it is possible, but younger, not really. Because I used to work in higher education. Most people younger than me, I just automatically okay, kid. Um, have I fooled around with someone that's like 5'7"? My ex was actually younger than me too, but yeah, I fooled around with people that were younger than me, not 10 years though. Because like probably someone 20, no one that's in their teens. That doesn't happen. No. But yeah, I think the youngest was like 20. And I'm like 20. I'm 29 now, and I think yeah, it was 20. But older, definitely I've hooked up with someone that's older than me. When I was younger, like 22, I actually hooked up with somebody that was twice my age. And it was consensual. It wasn't one of those creepy things going on trying to manipulate. It was actually just for the sex of things, for the experience. For the experience points, yes, EXP, y'all. I did it for the EXP. And leveled up. I leveled up. Let me stop. Let me stop. But yeah, I definitely have. Let's see. Let's do a would you rather. Would you rather have your lover kiss every square inch of your body? Already, I'm feeling this. Or have your lover lick you from head to toe? Bitch, both. Like, what kind of fucking question is this? So, okay, because I know I fucked that up when reading it. So, would you rather have your lover kiss every square inch of your body, or have your lover lick you from head to toe? And still, the answer is both. Like, you can do both of those. Like, this is not a basic man. Well, okay, I do want to be treated like a basic motherfucker, but I'm not basic. We could do both. Like, it's both really an option here. I know I have to choose between the two, but like, how you feeling that day? Today, I might feel like getting kisses. Why does it have to be square inch? Is your lips even square inches? Like, what is the circumference of your fucking lip? The same circumference of that dick. Oh, I'm joking. I don't do oral like that. You know, that would be a nice pickup line. No, it really won't. It would not. If you're attractive enough, it could be. I'm attractive enough. You know, I'm going to ask somebody that. What is the circumference of your lips? And then let them respond, and then respond this dick. Do y'all not see that? Do y'all not see that magic? Do you not? I know y'all see that shit. I know. I'm using that. I'm using that. If you're going to use that, let me know. Let me know if you're going to use that, because see, this is why I cannot. Well, I was going to say this is why I cannot be in a relationship, because I'd be doing some stupid shit like that. But this is also the reason why I probably should be in a relationship, so I can send those text messages. Hey, I just want to know, what is this, the circumference of your lips? Wait, what you mean? Do you not know what the circumference is? Here's the definition. You know, just a little circular, and it's like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know that? Oh, well, you know, this dick will help you find out. Okay, let me stop being evil. Yes, that is going to be my line now. Now, a sex question. Um, do you ever feel guilty or ashamed after having sex? Tell me more. Um, I have felt guilty after having sex once, and I also felt ashamed after having sex once too. Let's talk about it. So, I know the ashamed one comes from me not feeling as though I performed well enough, like to standard, like to my standard. I've had that quite often, really, and um, it was like those situations where I was more horny and didn't really care who I was hooking up with, as long as it was like safe sex happening. And I would say those are also rooted in those guilty experiences too, because uh, it was like, I know I cheated myself out of something that could have been better, or I know I could have done better for myself. Therefore, why am I treating myself like a two penny whore when I know I'm top notch? Not no offense to those who are two penny whores, because y'all do y'all. Because like, I support your work and I love it for you. But like, I don't know. It was those moments where I really devalued my own self worth in order to just have a quick hookup. And I know that happened not as frequently, um, but it has happened in the past. Most definitely, if I went on a trip somewhere with the sole intentions of being a hoe, and I have not had the opportunity of being a hoe, I do feel like ashamed that I didn't accomplish my mission, or feel guilty that I did not accomplish my mission uh, of having sex. Or um, I lower my standard because it's like, okay, since I'm here, I really wanted to put some use in this hotel room that I paid all this money for, mostly because, I, just wanted the security of it all. And then y'all didn't, the person that I either went to go see didn't show up or was on some BS, whatever it is. I'm just like, well, why did I waste my time? Why did I put myself in this situation and shit like that? But I guess, well, that's just asking after having sex. So since I didn't have sex, yeah. But I would say that that's where some of my guilt and feelings of being ashamed come from. Um, but if it is after sex, it's mostly for not performing the way I wanted to and getting too tired when I know I could last a lot longer. But typically, mm-mm, mm-mm. So I say, yeah, that would be it. What other question? Look, we getting four questions, four things today. Oh, this question is, when did you lose your virginity, to whom, and where? So, this is a dual answer. So, if you read the Essential Guide on How to Be a Hoe, I do mention that I lost my virginity when I was a lot younger, like I was a baby. So I don't really count that as the moment I lost my virginity. I count the day I willingly and consensually decided to have sex. So we're going with that one. So I lost my virginity at age 19. I was in college. This happened when I was home visiting on what was it? Fall break, which they gave us like 2 days. Like it was a Thursday and Friday situation, and then the weekend. But yep, lost my virginity during fall break. And the person I lost it with, I forgot his name. Honestly, I really did forget his name. We had like a whole 2 hour conversation before we even hooked up or had sex. And we talked about life. It wasn't anything too crazy, nothing too serious. It was just we're here chatting. They already knew that I was a virgin at the time, and I wanted to take things slow, so that helped out. And we had sex outside, which was actually a lot of fun. We also had sex on a trampoline, which was also a lot of fun. And then we had sex on the back porch. So it was a lot of fun, y'all. So I know some people don't have that kind of experience when it comes to their virginity story, but I'm just happy I had it with that person, and not some of these other mofos out here who don't really care about consent and listening to you or having those conversations, because some would just do whatever they want with your body and not give a damn. That could be top or bottom, or verse, or anything in between. So it's like that's what happened there with some other people. But for mine, it wasn't anything necessarily super crazy or anything bad. It was actually very mutual, and that experience in itself helped me realize that when I am out here engaging with people, it is better for me to really trust who I'm having sex with and make sure that they are going to respect me just as much as that first person respected my body and my concerns. So yeah. So, for those who may be virgins out here, be responsible in terms of who you choose to have sex with, and make sure that they are listening to you, and make sure that you are communicating with them with your needs and your expectations in terms of the sex, and don't put too much pressure on yourself either. It may not be as great as you want it to be. It may go beyond what you expected it, but go into your first experience with an open mind and take it slow. Um, don't rush the process. Don't rush your sexual experience at all. Embrace it and enjoy it. And my first sexual experience with this person was in terms of anal, because I've been curious about trying that for a while, and I gave it a try, and I did enjoy it. I remember my first time topping. It was not as great as I wanted to be, but it was also still enjoyable. It was still kind of fun for me and that person, even though they were more in a rush than I was. So that was kind of an issue, but I enjoyed myself. It was fine. Um, but yeah, it's you just choose people that you do feel comfortable with, exploring those options with, rather than just jumping into the things. Okay. And this episode is still going. Oh my God, Vernon, what are you doing? So here are those announcements that I promised. I'm also going to try to do another recording so I can put this into like the ether or within the episodes to let people know during the process or during that break. But the show will be taking a mid-season break in July, so you're not going to get any new content. If I do release something, it's probably going to be related to the Dismantle the Culture podcast. So I'm going to get back to that. But the with the show being on break, we will be returning in August on that first Wednesday in August. I think that's August 1st. I don't know for sure. I forgot. But the episodes will still be released um, on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So everything's going to be the same. I do know how I plan on ending out the first season. Um, and I'm probably going to be following the same pattern every year going forward. There's not going to be any episodes released in December. Just to let everybody know that. So yeah. But be on the lookout for Hovember, by the way. This will be my third year doing Hovember. And for those who are new to it, welcome. So the first Hovember I did was when I was in Memphis. Well, it started off when I was in Memphis, but um, it's a month all about embracing your sexuality and whatnot, and sometimes that means being a hoe, and I hold like no other hold uh that started in Memphis. But it's the way I did it back then. Like I might travel this year too, but in Hovember is all about embracing your sexuality as well as reflecting on your sexuality. Last year was when I made it a little bit more structured, and you can find the Hovember posts on the Slaytor's Playhouse IG page. They're still there, and that included some like reflective reflection questions, as well as some health sexual health facts. So that will be continuing this year, and I might be doing a little twist in terms of the podcast now that I have a whole podcast, bitches. Yes, I'm evil. Okay, I'm in my villain arc and I love it here. If you're not in your villain arc, go to therapy. Stop giving a fuck about other people and what they have to say, and enjoy the villainy, y'all. It's amazing here. We have healthcare here, bitch. Villains got healthcare. Yes, but let me stop. But yeah, be a villain. So yes, November is coming around, and I want to do something special this year in terms of the podcast too. I am collecting facts. That's one of the things I'm going to be working on next month during the break. Um, what else? What else? Season two. That will be next year. I don't know why I'm thinking about that right now. It's going to be starting in March. So you, December to March, you're not going to get any episodes. December is off for me, and I'm trying to secure that for my jobs as well. Do not think I'm going to be here in the month of December. I'm not going to be here. If you thinking about fire me, ho. I don't care. I'm not going to be here in December. I got traveling that I want to do. I got people I want to see, and I got hoeing that needs to happen. I'm not going to be here in December. Not going to be here in December. In any December. I'm not used to working in December. I'm not. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm not going to be here in December. No, I'm not going to be here. You said what? December 1st? Is that December? I'm not going to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Mm, arigato. But yes. So what was I doing? Y'all got me into December now. Jesus. Oh, okay. So yeah, we're taking a break. I am still recording episodes during July, and we'll still be editing everything to make sure that we get um this content calendar created. If you are interested in coming on to the podcast, and being a guest, you are more than welcome to do so. Again, join the conversation, subscribe and join the conversation. You can also find the information about how to be a guest on the Soliloquy Podcast website. Of course, I'm going to have that information at the end of the episode of how to spell Soliloquy if you do not know how to spell it now. So go to the website, and you do have to put www dot. I hate that it won't let me just do holiloquy.com, but you actually do have to spell out like the www dot. It's annoying as fuck. So yes, that will be available to everybody. I think I link. Do I link the podcast website in the show notes? I feel like I do. I think I do. So look, check the show notes too, just in case if you want the instant click. And yes. Something else. Oh, the Dismantle the Culture podcast. So because I've been working on getting a lot of things together, I haven't been able to record for that podcast in a while. So what I'm deciding to do is just join the two. So what you would have seen on the Dismantle the Culture podcast, I'm going to make available to everybody through the Soliloquy podcast. So I am going to re-upload some of those episodes throughout the month of July. So you all have that just in case, well, just so y'all can have something to listen to while you're waiting. It is going to be considered bonus episodes. And I do want to still do some of those interviews I had planned out for the Dismantle the Culture podcast on the Soliloquy podcast. So there will be a lot more bonus episodes, everybody. And the purpose of that podcast is to educate people on rape culture, which already do have a section of rape culture within the Soliloquy podcast under the topics. But this was going to dive into a lot more of the nitty gritty of it all, and the expectations of that podcast was to build revenue so that I can actually develop an online course that I wanted to do based off of my research. And I'm still planning on doing that because it's needed and it's going to happen. I'm going to definitely get the financial support somehow, but it's going to happen regardless because it's needed. Is needed to happen. That course is going to be developed regardless of how anybody else feels. So yes, I think that's all my announcements. If not, I do apologize. If it is, I did what I needed to do. So Yes. Y'all got to hear my voice for damn near 2 hours. I'm not editing this at all. I'm still going to put my, my little music and my little intro thing up in there, so y'all have that. I'm going to have to find that in this 2 hour long video. Yeah, I'm not sitting down to do all that editing. So what you hear is what you hear, and I also need to make sure that these headphones sound great, and I'm not recording a second time. So if you like the old audio, it's going to be back. If you like this audio a little bit more, then it might be the new thing. Just let me know. Y'all let me know. I need feedback. I do be needing feedback sometimes. So other than that, thank you all so much for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. Just in case no one else told you this today, you are beautiful, you are worthy of happiness and joy, you are enough and then some. You may not live up to the expectations of others, but that is okay. You are only required to walk in your own shoes. May each day you live lead you towards abundance. With that said, love you all and see you next episode. Bye, y'all.
If you or someone you know and love are battling with thoughts of suicide, we ask that you reach out and talk to someone. You are not alone. I have battled with similar thoughts, so I understand how you are feeling in this moment. You are not weak. You are not a burden. You are a person with valid pain and experiences. You are loved. If you are in that headspace where you cannot see the brighter side of life or just wanting to end it all, please reach out to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. If you're not ready to talk on the phone, or if you just prefer to text, the crisis text line can be reached by texting HOME to 741-741. Again, text HOME to 741-741. Thank you for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, and we hope you're still with us for our next episodes. Thank you for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. You can subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting app and find us on the web at www.holiloquy.com. That's www.HEAUXLILOQUY.com. Share the podcast with your friends and join the conversation.